Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. If you're the kind of developer who loves cutting through the noise and getting straight to how things actually work, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're unpacking something super fascinating for anyone looking to streamline their Python web development. We're putting a framework called CherryPy under the microscope. Does it actually hold the secret to simplifying object-oriented web development? Let's find out. Let me start by asking a question that, let's be honest, you've probably mumbled to yourself at 2 a.m. while scrolling through endless docs. Do web frameworks really have to be this complicated? Does building a web app actually require some massive, bloated setup packed with tools you're literally never going to use? Or is there a leaner, more intuitive way to just get your ideas off the ground? Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at Python web development, simplified. Then we'll explore the minimalist power of CherryPy, followed by the object-oriented advantage. After that, we'll see how it's built for rapid development, and finally, wrap up with where CherryPy shines best. All right, part 1, Python web development, simplified, understanding the framework dilemma. So look, we all know Python is amazing, right? It's universally loved for its readability and sheer versatility. But here's the catch. When it's actually time to build a web app, picking the right framework can feel completely overwhelming. Don't get me wrong, heavy hitters like Django or Flask are incredibly robust, and they absolutely have their place. But man, they can sometimes bring a steep learning curve and saddle you with a ton of built-in features that you just don't need for every single project. Sometimes you just want a leaner solution without all that extra bloat. And that right there is exactly where CherryPy enters the chat. It's an open-source, minimalist web framework. Basically, instead of throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at you, it gives you just the essential tools to build Python web apps. And the best part? It seamlessly integrates object-oriented programming, or OOP, principles. At its core, it operates simply as an HTTP server that serves your app, an app that can be as simple or as wildly complex as you want it to be. Moving on to Section 2, the minimalist power of CherryPy. Just the essentials. The clash in philosophies here is honestly striking. Think of CherryPy as a highly customizable toolkit. You get a built-in HTTP server, lean essential tools, and the power to start simple, adding exactly and only what you need. Now, contrast that with those heavier, more robust frameworks. They're kind of like a pre-furnished mansion. You're often forced to rely on external servers like Apache or Nginx just to get up and running. You have to navigate a steeper learning curve, and you're stuck dealing with built-in rooms you'll never even step foot in. CherryPy's simplicity just cuts the fat, leading directly to much more efficient, maintainable code. Let's quickly break down these minimalist features, because minimal definitely doesn't mean weak. First up, having a built-in HTTP server means deployment is incredibly fast, especially when you're still developing. No wrestling with third-party servers. It also rocks a threaded architecture. This is a game changer, allowing the framework to handle multiple simultaneous requests without hitting annoying performance bottlenecks. On top of that, it's highly extensible. Start simple, then plug in whatever tools fit your specific project. And lastly, zero imposed architecture, no forced design patterns. You get the absolute freedom to structure your app however you see fit. Section 3, the object-oriented advantage. Intuitive URL mapping. Now, what's really interesting here is the guiding philosophy behind it all. As they say, developers who prefer designing their applications around objects and classes can find a natural fit with CherryPy. If you're a dev who already thinks in terms of Python classes and objects, you are going to love this. The learning curve is so incredibly gentle. Its straightforward API just naturally aligns with Python's core principles. It essentially takes the way you already write Python code and magically turns it into a web application. So how does this actually work in practice? It directly maps URLs to your Python methods. Picture this. Step 1, a user requests a URL path in their browser, say /products/list. Step 2, thanks to its object-oriented structure, CherryPy intuitively routes that request directly to a product class that you've already written in your code. And step 3, it simply executes the list method inside that class. Boom, done. It is so clear and logical. By mapping URLs to class methods like this, your code base stays super tidy, totally coherent, and way, way easier to maintain. All right, Section 4, build for rapid development. Speed, flexibility, and clean code. When you smash together a built-in server, a minimalist setup, and totally intuitive object-oriented design, what do you get? Serious speed. These benefits translate into a ridiculously gentle learning curve for Python devs, so you can literally start building from day one. You inherently end up with a clean, organized codebase, which pretty much eliminates future maintenance nightmares. And all of this naturally fuels rapid prototyping and iteration cycles. If you're at a startup racing against a tight deadline, this kind of speed is absolutely critical. You get things done fast, all while keeping the freedom to structure your own customized solutions. But hey, I want to make something crystal clear here. Just because CherryPy is minimal doesn't mean it leaves you hanging on the hard stuff. It still packs in built-in session management, meaning you can handle user authentication and persistent states without downloading a bunch of extra dependencies. It also gives you total control over custom configurations for your dev, testing, and prod environments. Oh, and it includes integrated error handling and logging, so you can actually monitor performance and squash bugs fast. It still does the heavy lifting exactly where it counts. Let's move to Section 5 and see how this builds out in the real world, where CherryPy shines best. Practical use cases. So when exactly should you be pulling CherryPy out of your toolkit? Well, for prototyping and minimum viable products, it's a no-brainer. The quick setup lets your team focus entirely on building core features and validating ideas fast, instead of fighting with config files. What about microservices? Its lightweight nature and built-in server make it absolutely perfect for spinning up small, independent HTTP services. And for educational projects, it offers this perfectly manageable context for beginners to learn about web frameworks and OOP without getting completely buried in unnecessary complexity. The big takeaway for today is that CherryPy is an understated yet incredibly powerful tool. By stripping away all that extra bloat and leaning totally into Python's natural object-oriented strengths, it just completely removes the friction between your big idea and a working web app. Which really just leaves us with one final question. What will you build when nothing slows you down? I really hope this explainer has challenged you to rethink your default framework choices for your next big Python project. Thanks so much for hanging out with me to explore this today, and happy coding.